Hello, Vision Nation. Today, we have a very special guest. I'm delighted to introduce you to Mr. Guru Singh. Guru is the founder and CEO of Scispot. He is also the managing director of Amara Biodiagnostics. Guru is an alumni of the world-famous Y Combinator program, which has launched companies like Airbnb, Stripe, and DoorDash. He is also the host of the Talk as Biotech podcast, which you can find on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Guru, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Wall Street Vision. This podcast is not associated with any financial institution. The views and opinions expressed by the host and podcast guests are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any financial institution. The content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax, financial, or investment advice.
Perfect. Well, I think let's maybe start things off with getting to know you a bit. So tell us a bit about your background. How did you originally get into the biotech space?
Sure. I always loved science. I remember first time when I extracted DNA, it was from strawberry using some house detergent. So I read a recipe or protocol somewhere, and I extracted the DNA from strawberry. And it was very hard for me to even digest the fact that the blueprint of every living thing is in that DNA, right? So that made me really curious about biology. I don't think I really enjoyed history or geography. And so I was very fascinated about biology and at the more molecular level, meaning there is the entire world that we cannot see with our naked eye, right? So we have more microbial cell than human cell, right? So very early age, when I was 12, 13-year-old, it was very hard for me to really understand what is human body if a number of cells that our body has on top of it or inside are more microbial than human cells. Right, so I was always fascinated about it. I think that's always the start to pursue a career in biology. So that was one of the trigger point, and then I ended up doing biotech undergrad, grad, and that's more like a starting point.
Interesting. So it was pretty early. How old were you when you first kind of did that DNA experiment and when you first realized, like, okay, history, no, but biology is much more interesting for me?
Probably 12 or 13.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's great to know early on. It just gives you that extra advantage because, by the time you're 20, you're already 8 years deep into into learning about your craft.
That's very true. Yeah.
Excellent. And so shifting gears a little bit, fast forwarding. So you're the founder and CEO of Scispot. Tell us a little bit about the early days of the company. How did it all come together?
Yeah, because of personal reasons, I always wanted to do something that accelerates lab workflows. So we bring these life-saving drugs to market faster. It was always back of our mind, how can we accelerate that? So more intrinsic reasons. After my grad school, I worked for other startups, very mission-driven companies, Scientist.com, Science Exchange, LabTwin, and all of them were contributing to biotech research, right? They were making some part of their work faster. And after understanding the industry, I started questioning, like, where can I use all the learnings, all the skills I acquired working at these companies and my academic career. And I realized one of the reasons or one of the culprits of slow R&D is data is stored across different islands, right? Data is siloed. There are hard-coded tools. People use them to just complete the workflow, but nothing beyond that happened to that data, right? Data is stored across 10, 20, 30 different places or spreadsheets. And our thesis was, if we can make that data connected and really turn that into a digital brain of the lab, and then find a way to connect this with AI, there's a potential that we can accelerate R&D workflows significantly, right? Because if you have a digital brain, then you can turn these lab into autonomous labs. So I started brainstorming with my brother, who's my elder brother, looks younger for some reason. So I started brainstorming with him. He's a data guy, product guy, and I'm more of a biotech science guy. So we decided to team up, launch a prototype, and start presenting to people and see if anyone would be interested. And I reached out to some of my friends, people I knew in the industry. They decided to bet on us. So really thankful for their support. You always need someone to bet on you in early days. Uh, because of that traction, we got into Y Combinator, and from there we grew our customer base. And luckily, this Chat GPT moment happened, and labs started thinking about their AI strategy, their data strategy. Right before that, it was more of a luxury thing. But when ChatGPT happened, they're like, how can I connect my data with LLM or ML models? And that's where we shine. So it really helped us to explode from there.
Interesting. And take me back a little bit, so to the Y Combinator days. So basically, as you mentioned, you were able to get, maybe a seed round or something from friends and family sort of situation. Is that right? And then that opened the door to YC. What was that whole process like applying there? I think you were actually in San Francisco, right? You spent some time living there even prior to YC. Is that right?
Yes, I lived in the Bay Area for a few years. I used to lead marketing at a company called Science Exchange. And YC, we applied two times. First time we applied, and they said everything is too conceptual, right? We have to see actual users, we have to see some traction. And we kept them updated. So every time we acquired a new customer, I used to give them update. Hey, we acquired a new customer. It's no longer conceptual. And second time they interviewed us and accepted us. So YC is, it gives you a lot of credibility, right? There are tens of thousands of startups, and everyone has some claim to fame. And with YC badge, I think it's more of a prestige thing plus community. So it opens doors to people who are generally not accessible. So we are very, very grateful for that support in early days.
And is it really on the community side? Do entrepreneurs of different startups work together, brainstorm ideas? Is it a very collaborative environment?
It's up to you how you leverage that platform. Right? If you don't talk to people, then nothing happens. Where people are more responsive to you. If you, there are group sessions where startups, founders in your batch have a chance to collaborate. But again, there are thousands of YC founders, many public company CEOs, YC alumni now. So it's up to you how you leverage that network. You obviously don't want to burn it. You don't want to send cold emails and or mass email to all the YC founders. You have to be careful how you leverage that community. But still, for some reason, it managed to preserve that sense of community, unlike other accelerators.
Hmm. Oh, very interesting. And it's great that you were on this AI theme with your company earlier, pre-chat GPT.
Therefore, it was cool for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, 100%. I've heard that since the AI boom happened, things have gotten way more intense in terms of work hours in the Bay Area, and that things are, it's like it just people are kicking up a whole nother notch. I think the stakes are really high. So, how do you see just the overall AI industry these days compared to, 5 years ago?
I think we live in a very, very different world because of AI, because nobody knows what's that defensibility, what's that moat. People can build things that you spend last 5 years to build within days, months, maybe not capturing all the nuances of the workflows, and right. So there's still some things that comes that takes time. So building has become easier, right? So now when you hire different type of people. You need good thinkers, right? Execution has become easier, right? But knowing what to build, you need some wisdom for that. So when you hire, you wanna be sure that they will help you prioritize right things, because doing things has become easier, right? So building things has become easier. So if you have right people with right life experiences, they can help you prioritize right things and then monitor. Because if you let AI drive it control or take control from you, final output is mediocre.
Mm.
Whether it's a product, it's content piece, image, video. So you really want to make sure the people you hire can actually control AI. It doesn't matter how smart these pre-training models are. If you have all the life experience, then you can still control these AI models. And that's the only way to create exceptional product. If AI is creating it, you are just writing um, prompts, not with too much thinking. There's a danger that final product will end up really mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great point. That's so interesting. So, from your perspective, what has changed is just basically the execution part's become a lot easier, but now the critical thinking, the vision is really the differentiator at this point. Is that right?
Yeah, and life experience. My dad writes prompts better than me
Oh, no way.
because because he knows so many other things, right? Because my experience is still limited compared to him,
Mhm.
and he knows so many other things that are related to things he is searching. So when he writes prompt, he is giving those like that context. So his results are better than mine, right? So what I that makes me think that last decade, people who were good at execution, programming, had a really good time, right? But because now execution is not that still important, but it's not that hard. You need older people with more life experiences, people with more multidimensional life to be able to create something exceptional. So again, how you hire is very different compared to 5 years ago. Yeah, I mean, nobody knows what will happen in 5 years because things are changing really fast. But we need more visionary now than ever before, because all the basic building, doing things, anyone can be a video guy, anyone can be a graphic designer, anyone can be a lab technician, anyone can be data analyst, bioinformatician. I mean, still their skill is still not waste. I'm sure they can add more value or play a bigger role. But most things in the digital world, you can do it without hardly any experience. Some basics will help. In the physical world, physical AI is not there yet. It will be. So even in the physical world, AI will come after us or empower us.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like a job of a plumber is very stable, no risk, AI proof for now,
Yes.
right? Job of an electrician is safe for now, but all like a digital workforce, they have to up their game. It's a good thing for them, right? People who up their game, they will get to do more things.
Yeah, it really seems like a crucial time right now. And so, there are two camps kind of when you're thinking about AI broadly. You have some people that are saying, oh, like progress is slowing. We haven't hit these benchmarks yet. You have other people that are saying, no, look, like progress is still very, very quick. Think about all the capex that these huge hyperscaler companies are putting in, billions of dollars every quarter. So, how do you see things? Do you think progress is still very, very quick? Is there a certain wall that we're potentially hitting, or what is your take there?
So it depends, right? People who are low skilled, their productivity increase is higher with AI, right? People with who are junior, right? They can do more things, but domain experts, someone who knows a little bit too much about drug discovery, they'll say, "Nah, it's not that helpful for me, not yet." Right? So for them, progress will not be very impressive because they know a little bit too much, right? It's just reducing the barrier to entry for people with very low skills. So if you're a domain expert, you will feel progress is not fast enough, which is normal, but they can expand what they're doing, right? So they can, if they are focused on something very specific, but let's say they are a wet lab scientist, but they don't have any experience in computational, they cannot write Python scripts. Now they can use AI to do computational part as well, right? But if you want to pick a lane and stay in that lane, you will not see this exceptional impact that AI is making because you're too focused on one thing, right? AI has changed the game. It's more surface area, more territory. It's a land grab, right? You can expand your territory. You don't have to stay in lane because of AI. It lets you do your thing, but 10 other things.
Makes a lot of sense. It's like that analogy where you can have, these kind of super programmers, I guess they called them back in the day, where one programmer can, provide massive amounts of value just by the code they can implement. Well, now that kind of AI opens that up to many more people
Right.
because they can accomplish so many more things. All of a sudden, you don't need to hire a separate graphic designer. You can just go use, an AI software and then make any tweaks there.
Yeah. I don't know which company is it. I was reading one article yesterday, and there's a big company now. They want to leverage their product managers as full stack developers,
Oh, wow.
because if you know what needs to be built, you better build it. So you don't need like 3 layers now. So yeah, it's a really exciting time. I'm really excited about we will get to see human potential, right? You will see one person doing the job of 50 people, 100 people, and hopefully solo entrepreneur will run $1 billion company sooner or later, because they will only be limited by their thinking, their imagination. So it's really powerful times, especially what's coming next.
I love this. I love this vision that you have. And so let's chat a little bit more about Scispot. So I guess at a high level, if you're talking to somebody who is not a biotech person, somebody who is not familiar with the ins and outs of the industry, how would you describe Scispot and the work that you do there?
Yeah, it's an operating layer for life science labs like biotech companies, diagnostic companies, like in Canada, like if you go to Life Lab, like so these type of labs that test your blood samples or help you with genetic testing, they use Scispot. Not Life Lab per se, but companies like that. Even Government of Canada labs now, some of the labs use Scispot. So it's an operating layer for these labs, and our goal is to make these labs autonomous, right? So we build this data layer, automation layer. On top of that, we build agentic layer. So these AI agents automate workflows. Let's say it's a sample testing workflow. So how you do the sample intake, how do you process the sample, sending data to machines, bringing data from machines, doing the analysis, creating the report, sending the report. So we automate this end to end. So it's a proper operating layer, and our goal is to reduce human in the loop. Currently, still you need human to design protocols, to test, review, sign. So human is still in control. It will always be stay in control, hopefully. But our goal is to reduce human in the loop. It's just human involvement is too much, and it's very unnecessary. That humans are doing all the basic things, preparing aliquots. Aliquots is nothing. You divide sample into uh, 10 different children sample, right? So human are still forced to do all the basic things. We rather have Scispot connected with robots do all of that. So many of our customers are using us to really operate as cloud lab, more autonomous labs.
Based on, even the things that we were talking about, that seems like basically that would allow the humans in the lab just to focus more on the vision aspect, making the innovation happen as opposed to doing more of the administrative type things.
Yeah, like why? I think we need humans to really define why they're doing something. A little bit of what, where AI can also help. But how part should be delegated to AI sooner or later, right? And when I say delegated to AI, I'm not just saying more digital AI agent, but physical AI agents as well. So that's what we are currently working. How can we start giving arms and legs to these digital AI agents we have built so far? That's where our focus probably will spend next few years doing that right.
Your plan is, apart from just doing the software, it's also having the physical robots in the lab performing physical activities as well.
100%. We currently connect with other robots like Deacon, Hamilton machine, like all these liquid handlers we use in the lab, or like autopipetters, right? So we already connect with them, but we are still limited by what these robots support. We would like to really configure very specialized robots for different workflows. So you are not just automating things in the digital environment, but also in the physical environment. You don't need to hire 5 interns or 10 interns. So that's the hope.
Talking a little bit more about these labs, what kind of research are they doing? I know you have many labs you're working with, and just to highlight a few of the ones that are doing interesting research.
There are many interesting labs. So there's uh, government labs in Canada we work with. They're mainly genetic testing labs. It's in rural community in Canada. So they do genetic testing. And our goal is really from first to automate their diagnostic workflows as much as possible, and then instantly connect this with clinic portal, like portals of clinician, EHMR system, and then to patient portals. So data is accessible to clinics, patients in real time. Plus, the diagnostic work is automated. Right, so that's one example. We have many robotics, drug screening, or drug discovery companies. So they are processing millions of compounds. When you are processing millions of compounds, you're using robots to do a lot of work. So Scispot is a perfect platform to speak with your robot, uh, take the logs back, give instructions, analyze that data, right, and help you store that data in a format so you can train your own AI model, right? So, like more diagnostic labs, drug discovery labs, CROs, contract research organizations, right? So, companies that are doing research on behalf of big pharma, or behalf of biotech, CDMOs, contract development manufacturing organization. So any company that can standardize some part of their workflow and generating big data, they come to us because you cannot. AI is still not ready to support completely free flow research, which is where you are tinkering, you're figuring out. It can assist, but it cannot play a major role. So we focus on labs with some clarity about their process because you can see the impact of AI right away.
Any sort of cancer research labs that you're working with as well?
Many of our labs are cancer research companies making drugs for Alzheimer's. Cancer diagnostic is another area. Lab grown meat companies making cultivated meat in the lab, lab grown biomaterial, right? Like if you probably read this report from McKinsey that says 60% of physical goods, your glass, your leather, your fabric, will be manufactured biologically. So in the next, we are already seeing it, but in the next decade, we will see thousands of more labs making biomaterial for us that is more sustainable, good for environment, and also eventually cost effective. Currently, it's expensive to make things in a bioreactor, but our goal is economy of scale. We are still working on it. Like even lab grown meat, currently we have to grow a cow from scratch to eat that
Yeah,
meat, right? So and or grow a cow from scratch to consume their milk. All of these things, it's possible even today technologically, can be made in the lab, but it's too expensive. That's how every new industry starts, right? But our goal is to keep reducing the cost to truly industrialize biotech, to truly industrialize biology. But most things in the future will be made in the lab. So we are very excited about this future.
Oh, wow. And how far in the future do you think?
It's already happening. So we started with more high value, expensive things. For example, vaccines are made in bioreactors. These are biological drugs, right? So all these drug proteins, biologics, we are already making them. There are many companies making leather. It's not normalized. Like cultivated meat, already in Singapore, they have approval. It's already in the market. I know in the US, there are some states like Florida and other states where they were thinking to ban it or they already banned it. So there's some resistance, like any other new technology. But I would be surprised if in 10 years, lab grown meat is not a norm. When we go to any Michelin star restaurant, I'm sure they will have lab grown meat and probably catalog of meat. So you can say, I want to eat beef, I want to eat chicken, I want to, right? So, and everything will be lab grown without any cruelty. So, probably in a decade. And we are already seeing in oil and gas in North America, across North America, I think 20% or 30% of fuel is biofuel mixed with non-renewable. So it's already happening incrementally. But when will it replace completely more traditional way of making things? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But 10 years, you're seeing some big impact in the industry.
100%. 100%. That's why smart countries are making their plan for bioeconomy, right? Bioeconomy alone can contribute trillions of dollars to every economy.
For sure. And the added benefit of no cruelty, the added benefit of no hormones used, no steroids used, just can be a much cleaner, just healthier version, really.
100%.
One of the fun things about AI and thinking about the future is thinking about some of the best possible outcomes that could happen. So I've heard, some people say, imagine a future where, all cancers are cured. What's your take on that statement?
I mean, sooner or later, all these biotech companies, drug discovery companies will work on human augmentation, not human fixing, right? Currently, there's something broken in this human machinery. That's when we go to healthcare, like our doctor clinic. They prescribe us drugs. So drugs are here to fix you. There's not a lot of focus on human augmentation, right? And also currently treatments are more reactive. It's already broken, now fix it. How can you, no matter how good of a job you do fixing, it is still broken. I never really reverse it completely. Even when you do chemotherapy or radiotherapy, it destroys the body, and then there's always a chance that cancer will come back because you're fixing, right? But imagine if we can be more proactive. So, more proactive alarm, more proactive action. So, the whole drug industry or healthcare will move towards more proactive treatment and also to augment human potential. Like what can we, like we currently entire population is really addicted to caffeine, right? You go to coffee shop, it's packed, which is great, but then people overdo it, and at 2 p.m. their energy is down and their productivity goes down. So I'm sure as a human race, we will work more on figuring out how can we really augment human potential, like so people are more productive. AI will take all the job, but still you have to think. So how can we really empower these ambitious human bodies to do even 100x more and stay healthy, stay happy? So I think that's where the drug industry will move. To answer your question, if we will have a cancer-free world, sooner or later, yes. But we will have new things, new problems. Like you solve one problem, you notice other problem, right? Because if you have something at the surface, you all of your attention goes there. But I'm sure when we fix cancer, all these basic diseases, infectious diseases, pandemic, all of that, if we can avoid it completely and eliminate it, then we will start seeing other problems, start prioritizing it. We already started prioritizing mental health, but I think we will go to the next level. Your happiness index at every minute or every hour. How can you improve that? Right? How you perceive the reality of the world. Right. So I think our depth will increase over time. We are still at the surface level, very reactive way to treat, but it will be more proactive, more augmenting in nature.
So moving into a little bit more of a couple of broad questions. What's one lesson from your entrepreneurial journey that you wish you had learned earlier?
So a lot of, not just entrepreneurial, we can learn this from politicians too, right? It's a very thankless job, especially
Yeah.
until you figure it out and you become a celebrity. It's a very thankless job, right? So you have a lot of rejections, a lot of complaints, a lot of issues. You're firefighting the whole day, but you still want to figure out to keep your eye on the promised land, right? So if you start reacting to every challenge and start making decisions out of anxiety, you will end up really in a you will not be able to make a huge impact, right? So you need to really figure out how to do in a way to reach that immunity to day-to-day challenges and still stay calm and make decisions without any anxiety, right? Investors will say one thing, customers will say other thing, right? Then your team, you need to figure out how to hire people who are smarter than you in some ways or forms. How do you keep them motivated? How do you make sure they smart people like to work with each other? How do you retain it? How do you build relationships? So in the AI world, your even mode is changing. Human relationships are becoming more important, and there are new types of challenges. So irrespective of what happens, if you can find a way to stay calm and make decisions more logically, I would say that's my takeaway. Because in early days, I realized I was too reactive. uh, Something is broken, you just say, hey, fix it, this is not right, right? So you don't want to be reactive as much as possible. We still are humans, we make mistakes, but we want to really look at the big picture and keep going and solve one problem, move to another, solve that, move to another, and stay rational and calm all the time, not anxiety driven decisions.
Very important. And what would you say are thinking about skills for a founder to have, important skills for founders to really hone in on? What would you say are some of the top ones that you think are most important?
Clarity of mind, it comes with, if you know what you want, um, that helps. Good communication. I mean, more skills founders have, the better, because very soon they will be exposed about all the weaknesses they have because they get to do everything. So I'm thinking like few high impact skills. Good communication skills can never go wrong. Good storytelling can never go wrong. And not every founder has all those skills, right? Clarity of mind, good operational skills, how to manage team, how to align everyone with the objective, how to set OKRs. Yeah, I think these are some of the skills, and um, but not every skill, every important skill, one founder can have. So more skills, the better.
Yeah, for sure. And do you find that throughout your I mean, you've had an amazing career already, you've done so many different things. Do you find that the skills that you need at different stages also change? At one stage, maybe it's more important to have, the ability to raise capital or something like that. At another stage, it's more about, getting the team and inspiring the team. Have you found that as you're progressing? Yeah.
100%. Right. In early days when you're hustling, even your requirements from team will change. In early days, you're just working all the time, right? So because you don't know what you're building will even work, if people will even need it. Right? It's very hard to build something from scratch and get someone pay for it, right? So and then keep them with you, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. It's, at the surface, most companies struggle with it, but if they stick around long enough, they find a way to make it work. So yeah, skills needed change. So you, as a founder, you want to make sure in early days, okay, you're working all the time, but as you grow the team, you need to start. You need more time for deep work, right? You need more thinking time, because if it's just you and your co-founder, you have 100 important things you have to do. You have to do it, right? But when you have a team, if you don't think enough and a team is doing wrong things, it's really expensive, right? So you really want to make sure you have some time preserved where you are not doing things, right? Not responding to emails, not sending Slack messages. You enter your flow state, you understand the problem, and you go deep, right? You think, so you know what to even prioritize. Otherwise, if there are no clear objectives set up, people do their own thing. If there's leadership vacuum, then people jump in and do prioritize wrong things because everyone want to look busy, unfortunately. So you want to make sure people are not busy for the sake of looking busy. People are doing right things, quality over quantity, and with more maturity, these things become more important. So you think more and prioritize right things.
That's so important. I've heard somewhere that Steve Jobs would block off like 3 hours per day to focus on whatever the most important task was that he was working at that time, where basically he would not do anything except for focus on that task on those 3 hours, and like no calls, no meetings, just like that deep work that you're talking about. What are some of the things that you found that have been very effective for you to manage your time effectively?
No meeting day helps. Saying no to more good ideas often. If you get excited about every good idea all the time, you will end up delivering nothing. So deprioritizing more helps. Ignoring is a skill too, right? So if you start explaining why you're not available and write detail email and explain everything to everyone, you cannot make everyone happy, unfortunately, right?
Yes.
So ignoring is a good skill. The whole deep work and focus, it requires with a lot of confidence, right? People want to be liked, right? And they want to look busy, they're working hard, they want to explain everything, and they end up spending most of their energy, most of their time satisfying that, which is good. But if you really want to focus on your craft, uh, sometimes it's okay not to be liked. You want to do this selectively, you cannot overdo it. So yeah, I think focus, I would say I learned how to deprioritize even good ideas, how to say no to even good ideas more often, because you, if you prioritize 10 things, you're dividing your energy. You rather do two things really well, and you rather pick things that will contribute to your immediate objective. Like as you grow, you want to focus more on innovation, right? But in early days, you want to focus more on survival. Uh, so so you prioritize, you set objective based on that, then you align every hour of your time with that objective, either through OKRs or just more by being more careful.
That is such an important lesson. That's so hard, right? If you have 10 good opportunities and they all kind of look good, but being able to narrow that down to fewer, the two that are really going to make the difference, and then just focusing all the time, energy, and attention on those two. So, if somebody were to think about starting their own business, what advice would you give them?
I think starting is easy and it's very fun to come up with a name, create a logo, especially now with AI, you can do all of that. And it can give you a pseudo feeling that you have built something. But building is a long, painful process. You have to go through that trauma for, like, for example, with AI, you can build a product right away within a few days, months, but you will never get that product to be used in day-to-day work. So for that, you have to go through the customer onboarding, get feedback, make your product better, right? Get feedback, make your product better. And it never ends. That's why companies with 5 years of doing incorporating customer feedback, they end up building something people want rather than, because launching new products is very shiny. You can just do it. So coming back to what advice I would give to someone who wanna start something. Anyone can launch a business or even build a business, I would say, if they have patience to go through that pain for 5 years. So it depends on how bad you want it. You want to make sure you really you want that to work beyond money, because you generally downgrade your life or lifestyle when you start something, right? It's not like you make more money, at least not 5 years or 10 years, with the hope there will be some way to generate a lot of revenue because of the value you add to the economy. So you cannot do it just for money. So you really want to make sure you focus on something that you are passionate about and you will stick around. And you have to know it's a painful process for 5 years, 6 years. But if you enjoy what you are trying to build, that pain, it's a good trade off. So it doesn't bother you that much. So anyone can build it if you really want to solve that problem. Solution will keep changing as you work with customers or you keep iterating that solution. As long as you're willing to stick around, you say, I'm here for 10 years, then I think it's a good starting point. If you're here for 10 years and you're really passionate about the problem, that's good enough ingredient. You will never have all the skills to make anything work. You need the help of people. You need people to bet on you. You need to acquire new skills.
That's great, Guru. And last thing before we wrap up, any advice on dealing with those painful periods? What is the approach? Do you focus on a vision and just say, yes, it hurts now, but I'm going to focus on that vision and go through, or are there different strategies that you found to be helpful?
Clarity on vision helps. And you want to keep your mental health, your physical health in order. It's very easy to go depressed, right? So if you are firefighting, you have 10 rejections, you can enter your zone very easily. But if you build like a strong framework, so you just accept it, you are in the battleground, you're fighting, right? Not everything will go the way you're expecting, but you accept that as a reality. It works as long as you have good mental health and physical health. I know a lot of founders, including me in early days, completely ignore their health, their eating habit, there's hardly any physical activity, and that backfires very quickly. So you don't want to do that, right? So if you keep your routine, you sleep enough hours. I use this Whoop for tracking. So, so if I eat right before sleeping, I pay the price with my sleep quality. If I drink, I pay the price, right? So I control those small things too, because I know if body is healthy, mind is healthy, my productivity will be much more.
That's perfect. Thank you, sir. Well, Guru, thank you so much. This has been fantastic talking to you and learning more about Scispot and your perspective on things. Are there any things that you'd like to mention? Any socials? Anything else? Where can people find you? Anything else you'd like to put out there?
Yeah, if they want to know more about what we have built at Scispot, you can go to scispot.com and feel free to connect me on my LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. And I'm going to have a link to Scispot and Guru's LinkedIn and Guru's podcast as well. Everybody should check it out. Some great episodes dropping there. Perfect, sir. Well, thanks so much, Guru. Absolute pleasure speaking to you. And
Likewise.
good luck on the journey.
Thank you so much. Bye.